Hey gents, today we're going to take a look at, I'm going to do my best French here, Luxe, which translates to luxury time. I've been wearing this watch for about a year. I compared it last year in a video against the Tissot Swissmatic and a Vincero watch, and after about a year, I've been really impressed with the watch. I look at a lot of micro brands, and this one coming in at about that $475 price point, depending on the configuration, and being a Swiss-made piece with some really great construction, beautiful execution. I'm excited to look into it. This video is not paid or sponsored. They did send me 2 extra colorways for the video so I can show them off in the video, and I've actually really kind of fallen in love with the black one. Maybe when I send one back, I'll send one out as a giveaway. We'll see. Let me know what your favorite one is, but I'll get into each of the details here and I'll put a link so you can check them out below. And then so let's flip over and look at these in depth. Yeah, so I'm really into this black one. It reminds me a lot of the Hamilton that's being talked about for the Jack Ryan series, and it's just this all black, this matte black stainless steel side, really into that. And you can see the slightly domed crystal that's only on this black one. The other models have this very flat K1 sapphire coated crystal, which I like, and you can see how relatively thin this is. It's quite a bit thinner than my modern Seamaster. Talking about the size, it's a 41 millimeter case, and then lug to lug it is 47.5 millimeters. So the way that it wears on the wrist, I have 6 1/4 inch wrists, and it's like it's just a little, I wear a lot of 34 millimeter and 36 millimeter watches, so I'm used to the size. I also wear my modern Seamaster quite a bit, but I like the way this wears, and I like that it's not too thick. I have a couple of micro watch brands that are quite a bit thicker, and so this one feels pretty nice, and I don't really have any problem with the crown and the chronograph buttons sitting in here, but I'll talk about those in a minute. As far as the looks of the watch, you have a couple options. You have the black dial and the white dial, and then they have this gold color on brown, which I love. They have the stainless on stainless, and then they have black on the black, and they have a black stainless steel one as well, which I really like. But I am always a sucker for the white face with the gold and then the brown strap. The brown strap itself is one of my favorite watch straps that I have. It is just really well made, and I'm a big fan of it. You can see just a little bit of wear over the last year here where I typically have it, and then pretty easy to swap out with the spring bars. As far as the stainless, I'm pretty impressed with this bracelet. I've had a number of Seiko bracelets that have just been, I wouldn't say disappointing, because that's what you kind of expect for the lower prices of the Seikos that I've had, but this clasp mechanism is very similar to my Omega. It doesn't feel quite as buttery smooth, but it's also not multiple thousands of dollars. So it has the 2 push buttons here to go in, and these center polished lugs against these brushed on the outside. I like that, but you can just feel in the quality of the steel used here. I brought out my Luminox stainless steel band as a comparison. This is super heavy, but it's also very rigid. Whenever I wear it, it doesn't really conform around my wrist, but the way that this strap is much more flexible, it's like a nice middle ground between what you would get with a Rolex bracelet, an Omega bracelet, but not quite at that higher price point. And then I like the white on the steel there, but the stainless steel coating on the black, this matte black, if I had that in a stainless, I think that, I've seen that, those are online, those are beautiful, and I really like those. But then also from a look perspective, I like the way that the chronograph is quite clean. I also love the red logo of Luxe. It's a Swiss-made brand. They're very proud of how they are manufactured in Switzerland, and it speaks to a lot of the history of watchmaking itself. It's also not an overly busy dial, just based on it being a chronograph. So you have your tachymeter, as is appropriate for a chronograph. You have your Arabic numbers that go around the dial. They've removed the 10, the 2, and the 6 to have indices, which are loomed, and then they have your minute, hour, chronograph hand, and then your second hand you can see ticking right down there. And the chronograph function is what I've really become a fan of. So as you press it here, you'll see this ticks. This runs for the first 60 seconds, and then it has a full 30-minute chronograph. You can stop, and the restart is super snappy. It's just boom. I really like that. So I find myself trying to do time lapsing with the bezel on my diver, but I've really found that what I want is a chronograph to do some time lapse things there. I love that even on the gold you have this brushed look here, so it's more subtle than, like, you know, polished gold. And then for the crystal on the front, it's a K1 mineral crystal with a sapphire coating, and I'm pretty rough on my watches. I actually scratched the sapphire on my Seamaster, unfortunately, after a little less than a year, and so it's held up very well so far. I like the really flat crystal on this one. It's the same on the 2 white dials. On the black one it has the domed, which I have a domed one on my Seamaster that I like, and I think just for some reason I'm really into the flat crystal on the lighter dial. I find the black one very readable, the white one very readable, but even with the lume, it's quite readable. And you can see the red hands on the tips of the indices. I really like those. And then you also have a date window right here, which is pretty easy to change up. And then for the movement, it is a Swiss ETA movement, and just a really smooth action on the dial on this. Feels very good, and it's easy to change the time. You can see that it changes quite easily as we stroll through the hands here. And so while it is a quartz, and which mostly means that since I've had this one for a year, I barely had to change the time or the date except for the time change. But I'm really excited because the brand is also teasing an automatic version, and so to take the handmade, Swiss-made build quality of this one, throw an automatic movement in there, I think is very exciting. And to use the design language of this, are really very readable, very functional, pretty sporty, a little bit dressy. It's like, it's a very unique watch. And as I look at a lot of micro brands, I'm not usually that impressed, but this one really caught my eye, and I've been enjoying it for the last year. So to wrap up with value in the watch, $475 is definitely getting into like the Hamilton khaki, some of the nicer Seikos, and it's definitely in the micro brand space a little bit higher up, but I think what you're getting here is a very well made piece, made in Switzerland, so you do get that kind of Swiss heritage homage to the history of watchmaking. But then also there's a 5-year warranty on these, which even my Seamaster, when I bought it, Omega only did 3-year warranties. They're now starting to do 5-year, but for a micro brand, that I believe that's pretty unprecedented to have such a generous warranty program on these. And like I said, just the way that it's built, put together, you can see in the details on here. Same thing with the leather straps. You can see the little logo right there. I'm a sucker for Swiss things, so you may say that I was a shoo-in for one of these before. So that is Luxe, luxury time, or if you're hard English, Luxe. And I'm pretty happy with these, so you can check those out. If you're looking for a watch unlike Orient or Seiko or even some Tissot's, not everyone's gonna have this watch, but I think it's one of these undersung micro brands that I'm really excited to cover on the channel. If you have any questions about the brand or the watches, let me know down in the comments. You can also reach out at @_Kavalier on Twitter, have it answered down there. And yeah, I'll probably do a giveaway of one of these. Just let me know the models you like. Until next time, gents, this is the Kavalier.